women don't deserve water. Don't you think they're kind of useless? Like, if men didn't exist, women would cease to exist. So taking a sip of water, who do you think you are? You should be taking the sip of water that you even had the audacity to think about and handing your drink over to a man. It doesn't have to be your man. Any man deserves that water more than you. Is what I would say if I was Pearl. But it's Young Thug Donnie Dizzle D, so I'm all the calorie intake you need, baby. Hi, my name is Donnie and welcome to the channel, or welcome back for all my returning customers. Yep. Nah, stand up, stand up. Speech. I'm sorry. I just like you guys, okay? I don't know. Something about your eyes and that great smile you got there. I don't know. Water is looking low. So sorry. We only allow people that are gonna take a sip of some water when they watch the video. No, you're fine. No need to apologize. We do make exceptions, like one-time exceptions. It's okay. Just next time you come back, make sure you got some water, ice water, tap water, sparkling water if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not meaning to be rude or disrespectful. You're looking a little dry. If you were prepared for family sip, cheers. It's what I get for being me. Okay, I know in my last video I said I am not a political channel, and I stand by that. This is not a channel of politics. However, I've recently discovered Pick Me Pearl. After my recent discovery, I just had to discuss with you all. Now, Pearl as a human is not a new topic by any means. She's been on the internet for a while now, and there have been many videos made on her already. She's been on my For You page recently for being rejected by the very men that she panders to, but we'll talk about that later. For anyone that's new to Pearl like me, a brief introduction, shall we? Pearl, born Hannah Pearl Davis, is a political commentator on social media. Zodiac sign, Scorpio. Yeah. But I do think it's important information. She's known as anti-feminist and a part of the Red Pill movement. The Red Pill movement, loosely, this is a loose definition. If you want a detailed explanation, please do your own research. But from my understanding, the Red Pill movement is based off a term from the Matrix. You know how in the Matrix there was the red pill and the blue pill? And if you chose the red pill, you were then enlightened and awakened to a new form of consciousness. That's what that term is based off of, from what I understand. Please do your own research. The Red Pill movement is known for its very right-wing extremist views, and Pearl has done her part in becoming sort of a face in that community.
Your husband isn't supposed to ask your permission. Your husband can do whatever he wants with the money. True submission is giving him complete control. No.
Now, this is not a deep dive into Pearl and her extremist right-wing opinions. This is a mid-dive, where I just take a look at Pearl's content for myself and some of her hot takes. How bad could it be?
Ladies, stop leaving your husbands over cheating.
Let's familiarize ourselves, see if we can get into the mind of old Pick Me Pearl, and take a look at some of the content that she has posted herself and see what points that Pearl has before we just dismiss anything.
If a woman's 35 and unmarried, it's likely that she will never get married. Once a woman hits 30, is not in a relationship, it's more likely that she won't have kids than she will. And selling these dreams, I'm not in the business of it. I'm just a fan of speaking in reality, being honest.
Okay. Well, my thing is the 35 and married thing, is that statistics? What age are women not? I'm gonna keep going.
I'm not the biggest fan of female politicians. I think generally we're too emotional. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, do I want... In the U.S., I know more about the U.S. political system, so do I want someone with the nuke bomb that could get their period you know, and then she's in a bad mood. I don't want that personally.
Yeah, I suppose it'd be...
I fear the day we have a woman president in the U.S. I fear that day.
Why?
I don't think women are meant to lead. We're not meant to lead countries.
You know, you're being a bit... I mean, if I said that about women having periods and about to press the nuclear button, I'd be in a whole lot of trouble. But men have bad moods as well, you know. I mean, we've seen some people in the world that are leading countries. Look at Putin. You know, most people think that he's a madman. Would you sooner have him running the country with his finger on a button or a sensible lady?
Well, I can't speak to Putin, but, you know, in my experience, women are far less emotionally stable than men. I've interviewed 1,000 women, and I can tell a significant difference. And I think if you ask the average person on the street who's more emotionally stable, men or women.
Can you imagine the kind of backlash I would get, or any man would get, saying what you're saying?
I know, but you guys know I'm right. That's the funny thing. You guys all know I'm right.
Who?
Clap if you've ever wanted to kill somebody.
To say that you don't want a woman to lead the country because she may be upset because she's on her period one day doesn't make the most sense to me, or much of any sense at all. That's not how periods work. That's not how any of this works, actually. What do you mean women aren't meant to lead countries?
Because we bleed?
I don't know, it's just not giving very big brain to me. Men are absolutely moody and emotional beings as well. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's just been the men that have been a little upset about something and gone a bit too far. Being the person to B-word a whole entire country. Aside from the fact that most women in the US have to work while on their periods anyway and are accustomed to being in leadership positions whether their period is there or not, to say that women aren't meant to lead is almost mental to me. Are you okay? Nonetheless, let's keep going. Maybe you just didn't know how to word your point.
My great-grandma, she married a baker, right? And she was a nurse. That's a quote-unquote higher status job. And do you know what she did? She still gave him 3 meals a day. And she worked. It's not about working, guys. It's not even about working inside or outside of the home. It's about everything is the family first. Everything is your husband first. It's not about you. And that's our problem, is social media has made us women live in this complete delusion and narcissism where we think our career is the most important thing. And this is why I say real traditional women get married before 25. The real the real deals. I'll explain why, because they think it's important to give their husband.
Isn't she 27? She's literally 27. So she's not even holding herself to the standard that she is perpetuating against other women? What's that about? How are you going to advocate for being a traditional woman, setting all these standards, and then not being a part of them? At least she's not against women working. Women can work, she said. But as long as you remember that it's not about you, it's about your husband first, and then your family. I would think, as a Christian, it would be God first.
Their most fertile and youthful years, they know that's important to men. They want to give their husband the best of them. That's why they wait until they're married to have sex. That's why. And those are the women that were raised to truly be traditional. They're rare. They barely they're almost damn near extinct. But the only way that we could ever come back from that is if we agree on what the goal is. And the problem is, women, we can't even agree. We'll bitch and whine whenever I say, hey, that's the best type of wife.
Because what do you mean that's the best type of wife? You're not that person, so you're already not living up to that standard. I have nothing against unharmful traditions, but what's the point of upholding traditions if it's not benefiting society as a whole? A woman who has a higher earning job than her spouse coming home from working a 12-hour shift, because nurses in this day and age work 12-hour shifts, and then still having to cook 3 meals a day. Only one person is benefiting in the situation if one person is expected to work, cook, clean, do everything. But that's just coming from a person that loves women.
Guilty. Guilty.
True, because a lot of times when we say this, women base things off of how we feel. So if a woman feels they were trying to do that, then essentially they were. We just have this tendency to blow things out of proportion. And it's really not even our fault. It's just how we are. But the problem is we've lied to women and men about the way women are. Yeah, so my final thought is, women, please stop going into the men's spaces and complaining about the way men are. And stop dressing half naked and not expecting men to hit on you.
Hell no, man.
Okay. I see where Pearl gets her Pick Me title from. We see that Pearl has a lot of ideologies that essentially work in the favor of men. And the thing is, all of this is unprovoked. She started out on TikTok doing some different type of content.
Next up on the You Cheated on Me quiz, we have Marcus. Are we still together? Yes. Who did you cheat with? Your sister. Did you cheat with anyone else? If so, who? My professor. Was it worth it? Be honest. Yes. Yes, it was. How often did you cheat on me? Once a week. Scale of 1 to 10, how guilty did you feel? 4, closer to you brought it upon yourself. Would you do it again? Yes.
And then eventually she turned to this.
You don't think women should get the right to vote?
No, I don't.
I don't know if I completely believe that she believes in this rhetoric that she's spewing. I think that she's either trying to get engagement or trying to get some...
Women will do anything for attention. Anything. And this is just part of female nature. Attention is to women as sex is to men. Women want to be beautiful. Men want to have sex, okay? And the problem is we have women that, again, have had unlimited attention from the time we were like 12 years old. And we go into the world and now we are addicted to this attention. And that is why you see women doing crazier and crazier and crazier things for attention.
And Pearl, what are these crazier and crazier things? Wearing halter tops, for example? Showing shoulder? Is that what you mean? Are you looking for some attention? Oh no, I get it. You're outing yourself. You have to be posting this content for attention, right? I'm telling you right now, Pearl, if you want some diggly do, you don't have to do all this. I think Pearl just told us what we needed to hear. She already told on herself. I've seen a few clips of her when she has men on her podcast. Just kind of take a look.
Be seen and not heard. As a matter of fact, they shouldn't be heard or seen.
What do you think if I actually do say that some women can vote?
Yes.
If they're not on child support, alimony, they're net taxpayers.
Look at her eye contact. That's what she's doing this for. She already told us what she thinks of women. She herself identifies as a woman, and she let us know that she's doing this for attention. Guys, it's okay. She's putting subliminal messaging in there for us to know she's a clown. Now that we've gotten a bit of a look into the kind of content that Pearl is into and the kind of things that she believes, let's get into some of the more recent hot topics and the reason that I was like, I want to hear thoughts. If you don't know, Pearl's YouTube channel was recently demonetized. I think she removed the video that she posted herself, but the H3 podcast kind of had like a bit on it, and it came up on my FYP page.
So as you guys know, back in November, we were demonetized. A lot of people, they said that we were demonetized for stuff we weren't. Officially, what YouTube told us was that we were demonetized for using the word fanny, let's just say, with a T and an R.
Oh,
and
that's f***ed up. So probably all the time, too. She probably said it like all the time.
Have to imagine.
Women
are not as smart as men.
That's pretty sexist.
I'm quoting YouTube.
Yeah,
and it was really frustrating.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty dumb.
Frustrating because I even had a meeting with them and I asked them if I could statistically back up the things that I was saying.
Oh, you are such a moron. You can't be serious. You really thought you would bring a chart to Google and prove that you're right. No. I know it's racist, but hear me out. Susan, I would like to sit down with the CEO, Susan Wojcinski, and have a meeting about how women are obviously dumber than men.
Would that help anything? They said no. Okay. And this caused us to delete probably, Blessing, 10,000 videos?
Wait a second. 10,000 videos? You have 10,000 videos? No.
This caused us to delete probably, Blessing, 10,000 videos? We were hoping that this would lead us to getting remonetized. And unfortunately, I learned 2 days ago that they denied our decision. I'm not mad at YouTube. YouTube has the right to require whatever they want on their platform.
You're not mad.
But it's very frustrating because they wouldn't tell us why they denied it.
They didn't tell me I couldn't use a slur 20,000 times. I never knew that. I couldn't do that.
They wouldn't tell us anything other than hate speech. And that's such a broad definition that we can't even...
Bro, listen.
Hate speech is a broad definition? You used a slur to describe a group of people casually and consistently. You two say, hey, yeah, saying that women are stupid and casually referring to an entire community as a slur, not as a joke, not for education purposes, not for anything other than using it as the slur that it was meant to be, is hate speech, and we don't allow that on the platform. So we're gonna demonetize your channel. That wasn't specific enough for you.
Be fucking for real. Be fucking for real. For real.
Girl, I'm glad YouTube was like,
Nah, we good.
because you can have your opinions and your thoughts or whatever, but once you start to spew rhetoric that actively harms communities, then I think at that point you probably shouldn't be making money off that. That's just D Dizzle's opinion though. I just thought that was interesting, and I think the demonetization has Pearl in her feelings because she's posted some pretty deep content since being demonetized.
Be the villain if that's what you gotta believe. If they criticize me at all costs, I know maybe that hope is lost. There's more to gain from lying than telling the truth. So I'll be the villain.
Pearl, just so you know, I'm not trying to make you the villain. They could never make me No, this is serious. Clearly our girl is devastated. She's going through a lot right now. I think everything's just getting to her because on top of being demonetized, when it comes to defending her points, our girl is not really the best at it.
So a guy, so if they make a policy that, I'm trying to think of something crazy. I mean, even the policies that are today, it's like, you know, that if, so really any policy. Wait, what?
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
I'll be totally transparent. I did not watch the whole debate, just this clip, and it is her point just being turned against her instantly. And this seems to happen a lot to Pearl.
You are not going to get anywhere shaming men for not getting married. The only way that you were going to see progress is by making the institution more fair for men and giving fathers access to their children.
But when you say make the institution more fair for men, you're saying make divorce a little nicer for men. I think divorce is the problem.
No,
not the solution.
I agree with you. I don't believe, like, I don't believe in divorce. Okay. So if we could ban divorce tomorrow, great. But I think for the time being, so if we could do that,
yeah,
you know, let's go.
Yeah, right.
But for the time being,
Is that her stance on divorce? We need to abolish divorce. So no matter what's going on in the marriage, because you know, not just men, but a lot of men, mostly men, but just people are diabolical. People are undiagnosed, clinically insane. A lot of times people hide that, put on a mask for as long as they can, including all the way up until marriage, and then the mask comes off. She's saying that divorce shouldn't exist as an option, ever. Valid? No, no.
Like, okay, at least, you know, there should be mandatory DNA testing at birth.
No.
I don't know why you, okay.
Because it's calling my wife a whore to do that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Why? Okay, so
because
women...
the assumption of first of all, mandatory, good grief, but the premise of it is that my wife is sleeping around.
Okay, so
I'm quite confident my wife is not sleeping around.
The woman feels icky for a little bit.
Wait a second.
I would feel quite icky.
Wait. The woman feels icky for a little bit. Fine, maybe the man feels icky.
Certainly he would.
It prevents men from being put on child support and raising kids that aren't theirs.
You're saying they're
and
married.
If people want to opt out of it, fine. Fine, you can opt out.
So it's not mandatory.
But
it's voluntary. But there it is voluntary. Yes.
I think it would be better if it was mandatory. I think that's a better.
So then the men can opt out.
Oh my gosh! What are you?
I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying.
Okay, I would say mandatory DNA testing at birth. That I think would be better. But
even though the men don't want it. So you're telling a man.
Okay, wait, hold on, Pearl. Why is there all this distrust placed on the women, Pearl? Is there some internalized misogyny going on?
Now, you're contradicting what a man has to say.
Because you haven't been in that situation. Do you know what I mean?
I've been in birthing rooms.
Why do you guys make light of like situations that...
Pearl, I have been in the situation and you have not. I've been in the birthing room twice.
No, I'm talking about a man raising a child that's not his.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an uncommon thing.
At least one of my kids looks like me. The other one looks a lot like my wife.
No, but okay, but we're trying to make jokes, but this stuff is serious, Michael.
Yeah,
like this is serious. Like
I guess
but,
the implication the implication though is that in 2% or whatever, where the woman has slept, cheated or something. And again, we're bringing in lots of different demographics and circumstances here. But in that case, then the parents get divorced? I thought you just said we're going to ban divorce.
No. Well, okay, if she's committing fraud, then yeah.
She's committing adultery. But you think adultery is grounds for divorce? I thought you said we're going to ban divorce. This is what I mean by the liberal kind of things creeping in.
But did she stutter? Yes, she did. That was the most unserious thing I've ever seen in my life. And the thing is, bro, this is not a one-time thing for you.
The people that believe in divorce, go be in long-term relationships. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
But doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin, so you wouldn't be able to get married?
What do you mean?
Well, you've spoken quite openly about how you're not a virgin, and so if you want to preserve that sanctity of marriage, then I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
And that's a fair complaint. I wish I was, but we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
Saying I don't know what you want me to say in the middle of a debate is crazy on national television. Is crazy. Listen, as a person that truly believes in my point of view, if I feel the need to argue something, I'm proving my point to the death of me. Never will you catch me saying, I don't know what you want me to say. Because it's not about what you want me to say, it's about what I have to say. And this is the kind of silly, goofy behavior that's leading to people not being able to take you seriously. I can't take you seriously after that. You're not even a virgin?
You're nothing but a prostitute.
Pearl, what are we talking about here? By her own logic, she's used goods past her prime. This is the pot calling the kettle black. Are you just spewing your inner thoughts that you think when you look in the mirror?
No, I don't think that you should pay for other people's decisions,
We shouldn't pay for what other people do. Should we pay for prisoners or should we execute them all?
Those are my only options? That's a tough question.
Well, prisoners cost, on average, like $30,000 a year because the IVF is obviously way cheaper than that.
What are they in prison for? I don't know much about. I guess prison would make a bit more sense because you want a safe society, so that's something everybody benefits from. I don't benefit if Susie down the streets waits till she's 35 to get married.
But then her family will be stronger. She's less likely to get divorced. The kids will grow up in a stable household.
Or she could do that when she's younger. Again,
right, but that's not how it works, and you know that. You look at the stats. Younger people are more likely to get divorced. Young people don't make as much money from this.
Can we put the prisoners to work?
Say what?
Can we put the prisoners to work?
They already do. Yeah, they do.
Exactly
they're slaves already. They work for like 10 cents an hour.
Yeah, but only
to profit private corporations, by the way. It doesn't benefit you at all. Yeah, it's not a good system.
You seem very knowledgeable in the prison system. I wouldn't call myself a prison expert.
What do you know about? What are you the expert on, Pearl? What can we expect from you besides re-spewing rhetoric that we've heard before? Literally copy and pasting words and phrases and ideologies. What's your expertise? I'm not saying I'm an expert here. I'm just saying if I am gonna go on different platforms, I'm gonna have a point. At this point, she's simply chatting. She doesn't look like she's interested in the topic, nor does she seem prepared, and I think she did get like backlash about how ill-prepared that she seemed. It has to be rage bait.
So do you agree with that premise that slavery was embellished?
There are parts that are under-embellished and there are parts that are over-embellished. I think it just depends what we're talking about.
So interesting. I've got to know what was over-embellished about slavery.
I mean, I was talking about a book that I read.
This woman has never had an original thought in her life. This is brain rot.
Roots talked about how it was a myth for his people to live by.
Myth doesn't necessarily mean it's a lie, right?
And that doesn't mean the way it's depicted in the movie was how it actually happened.
Thomas Sowell compared Barack Obama to Adolf. Do you like that analogy?
But he wrote like 100 books.
You also said George Washington was viewed from his slaves like a father.
That was from a Thomas Sowell book.
So he's your guy, Thomas Sowell's the man. Thomas Sowell wrote a column about supporting segregation in public schools.
Like, you want me to talk about every single one of this man's opinions?
47 of...
If you're gonna quote him, why wouldn't you want to speak about the opinions of the person's philosophies that you're saying that you believe in? I'm just confused. I'm aware two things can be true at once, so if you agree with one thing someone said, you cannot agree with the other thing someone said, but just say that. You can say that.
George Washington's slaves tried to escape. Would you try to escape if you loved your master?
Maybe that one was wrong. I was quoting a book. So
do you agree with his statement, though?
Do I think overall it was embellished? Some parts, sure.
I can assure you that that is a fallacy. I can assure you that that is a lie. I can assure you that that is nothing more than a fragment of your imagination.
There it is. Which part?
Some part.
No, please tell me which part.
I think that certain slaves had good relationships with their owners. Not all, maybe not most, but I think some did. You guys act just like I've been preached.
Like, there's been a whole
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me on, but I'm gonna go. Thank you.
George,
Thank you.
Does Pearl have a frontal lobe? Pearl, I would love to know what you think is a good relationship with your slave owner. Like, what does that look like to you? Like, not getting whipped as much as the other slaves? So what are we constituting as good here? What's the scale? That's a wild statement. And then she left the conversation. That's the equivalent of, you know what?
Believe what you want.
This is obviously just for clicks and engagement. With how ill-prepared she is for every possible opposing opinion. People started calling out the fact that you are agreeing with all this rhetoric that men spew about women and lack of femininity, generally agreeing with right-wing male-centered ideologies, and yet somehow you're in your late 20s.
That's suspicious.
You're still single.
That's weird.
And you are everything that you say women shouldn't be.
And you want to know what else is funny?
You don't have any kids. So according to your theory, you're not a contributing member of society. So what are you possibly doing this for? Because with all these pick-me activities, you have yet to be picked.
And to everyone calling me a pick-me, I'd rather be a pick-me than a skip-me.
With all these speculations amongst netizens about Pearl and her status in life, one man decided to give us the answer. The answer that we've all been waiting for. The answer that we needed.
Do you know why Pearl is available? Because even though she says the right things that men resonate with, she's masculine as hell. Men like feminine women. Pearl is an advocate for what men want, but she's not what men want. Feminine women do not go online and sit on podcasts and argue with men all day long. That is not what men want. Ideally, men would have someone that's very laid back, chill, feminine, you know, helps out where she can around the house and, you know, isn't like a pain in the ass.
So even with a man giving us the answer, because that's what men do, they have the answers to everything. They are the solution to anything that a woman could ever desire. People had responses to that.
Yo, can you imagine being a woman who builds your entire platform on literally hating other women, saying things like women don't deserve the right to vote, and oh, if a woman says she's getting abused or SA'd, she's probably lying, or women are stupid, women deserve less, women need men more than anything, and you're doing all of this to make men like you. Like, imagine being a woman and your whole platform is just that. It's the rest of the women. Pick me, choose me, love me, men. Like, trust me, I'll be your slave daddy. I'll do the cooking, the cleaning, whatever you want me to do. I will never complain. If you put your hands on me, I won't complain. I will never snitch. All of that. Imagine being that person, and then when a man... And then when a guy comes out and says, you know, I feel like it's time for me to get a girlfriend. And he's describing like the kind of traits that you always say that women should have. And then someone says, have you ever tried hitting that lady up? Like she seems like she's single, like she seems like she's available. And that man says, I don't want her, she's ugly. I don't want her, she's not feminine enough. Sorry. Like, just imagine your entire personality, your entire platform just being pick me, please, 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 men, please, please, I want you to pick me. And then when one gets asked, like, hey, why don't you pick her? He's just like, ew. No. I'm so sorry. That is so funny. That is so funny. You know, for a second, I felt bad. I was like, that's not nice. You know what I mean? He shouldn't have said that. But then I went back and I watched some of her videos and the things that she said, and I was like, you know what? Well deserved. Well deserved.
So that was pretty much the response that everybody had on my FYP. Now, do I think Pearl is ugly? Pearl is a strong Ohio 7.9.
Wait, what did he say fuck me for?
No, no. Pearl is like average. We have a skewed perception of beauty in our mind due to all the media consumption. I'm gonna be honest. I think if you were to say, think of a woman and make them white. Yeah.
The American flag is the Nicki Minaj one.
You know, it's so sad. Look at this chick. She actually, like, imagine if she was thin. She actually has a decently pretty face. It's like such a waste. She could be a solid 7. Instead, she's a 2.
You did all this for what? All of this work, and what did it get you? Like, you still have men on the Clock app saying that you're not feminine enough. And I think that that's true. If you're preaching femininity and submission, you should not be in front of a camera. You need to be in somebody's kitchen, silent, mouth closed, baking a cake. We shouldn't even know who you are. There were also women on my FYP that were explaining it's not that she's not feminine, it's that she's not enough of the beauty standard for men to want to put up with her personality, which you would think is the ideal personality since she knows so much about how women should be carrying themselves in order to be chosen.
She's still not picked because she's just, you know, she's on these podcasts and she's just too argumentative and blah, blah, blah. Wrong. And let me tell you why, okay? Look at someone like Tommy Lauren or even like Candace Owens, like women who are so aggressive in their political and like conservative and like just lifestyle opinions in general. They are conventionally attractive women. And so they have husbands and families and children, even though they're very aggressive online, even though they're very aggressive in the media. And they're saying a lot of conservative things that men love to be like, this is what men really think and really want. This is how people really feel. And it's truly not. But the reason that their career trajectory is so different from Pearl's is because they're conventionally attractive. It's a different kind of pick-me. Like, a pick-me doesn't really ever get picked, even if she's saying all the correct rhetoric for it, unless she has the looks to match. And that, ladies, is why it doesn't pay to be a pick-me. Because as soon as you age out of like conventionally attractive age brackets, as soon as you stop being the epitome of the male gaze and really what they're looking for, even if you're agreeing with them, your value in their perspective of life and life partners plummets drastically. All that to say, I think Pearl's personality is the ugliest thing about her.
That man set out to completely humiliate Pearl, and that should be a lesson to every pick-me. If that's the treatment that a pick-me is getting in public, in front of the world, what do you think is happening to them behind closed doors even when they do get picked? He did not have to answer the videos asking why Pearl hadn't been picked. He did not have to call her masculine and go off on her. But he did, because even though she agrees with literally everything he says, he hates her. Women are told that if you just give up your power and become a pick-me, you're gonna get something even more valuable in return. But that man has shown us exactly what you get in return.
I'm inclined to agree with the girlies, you know? I think this all goes back to the real issue, which of course is men. I'm joking, mostly. Pearl, listen, I can tell that this is not the real you. To want the approval of men, so much so that you'll agree with just about everything they say, I think she's just looking for some didgeridoo. You don't gotta do this, Pearl. But lo and behold, the man that set out to humiliate Pearl apologized after Pearl responded. Lastly, we'll take a look at some clips from Hannah Pearl Davis's childhood best friend saying Pearl wasn't always like this.
I've known her since 2002. I do not think she thinks that way. If she does, fuck her all over again. I don't care. But I don't think she does. I think she does it to rev people up and to get more views and to get more money. So all that to say, I'm curious to see once she does find a husband and find a man, is she gonna keep this act up? Because we had such a fun little friendship. We lived together for an entire summer. Look at that little Hannah banana. We would go camp in the middle of nowhere. And like, look how kind she was before.
This makes so much more sense now. I think she was in love with you. I think she was in love with you, and she was devastated when you got married. This actually... Oh.
People are making theories that our girl Pick Me Pearl is actually a lesbian and was in love with her best friend and was devastated when she got married, and that's when she snapped, which of course her friend denies.
The amount of you trying to gaslight me into this theory is not okay. Okay, I've known her for 22 years. I would have picked up on something along those lines, and I never did. I know for a fact she likes men. I promise you that. She has always wanted to get married and start a family, so she would ask me for advice on that because I met my husband in 2015, but she did not want to be with me. She wanted to find somebody for herself. Okay.
Now that I'm thinking about it, you know, none of Pearl's relationships with men have worked out. Sporty girl. In my experience, people who were like in the closet, they usually do lean really into religious activities, and you know, her mannerisms not too far off from your local lesbian. It's just speculation though, it's just a joke. That's pretty much it. My end message is, listen, Pearl, I know I said it before, we could turn this thing around. What you're missing is likability, okay? We can just rephrase a little things. Instead of saying divorce shouldn't exist, we could say, let's empower women and let them have rights because they're humans. What do you think? And like, instead of assuming that women just lie, we could try believing them. I mean, questions, thoughts, comments, concerns. I imagine if you enjoy Pearl, you're probably not watching this video. But if you are, what are your thoughts? Why do you like Pearl? Do you think she has some valid points? Even people who don't agree with Pearl, do you think she still had valid thoughts? Do you think women should have rights? If you're a man, would you date Pearl? If you decided to like this video, thank you. If you decided to subscribe, I don't know what that was, it's late. Thank you. And if you've been subscribed, looks like you're glowing a bit. It must be your eyes or something. I don't know, dude. You look good. Come here. You're so cute when you finish this heart, dude. Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Pearl, smash or pass.